October meeting, the Municipal Homelessness Roundtable prevention meeting. I think I'm going to say that twice already now. And for those that are new, this meeting is basically a very casual but productive group of individuals who do the work around homelessness and serving the communities on the margins on the city of New Brunswick and beyond. The meeting goes as simple as updates from all of our partners, as well as update from the city of New Brunswick. Questionnaires you see, or if anybody that has questions, this is not like a city council meeting where, you know, we give people 5 minutes to ask questions or vent or do whatever they see fit. So it's more of a, how can we get your specific question answered in the best way possible. Also allows for us to keep some track of who the person asking the question or making a comment, so we can be able to communicate. In the past, we actually even hired somebody based off of these questionnaires. So it's very simple. This meeting lasts an hour on a good day, maybe a little less on the spring and summer months for obvious reasons. The goal is to figure out how we can make sure we keep the coalition together, as well as stay up to date on new information happening in and throughout the city and beyond, and figure out ways that we can better collaborate as the city, collaborating with the community partners and advocates, and the advocates collaborating with the other partners and advocates, as well as the city of New Brunswick. So it's not just the city of New Brunswick partner collaboration. We also allow this space to foster these cross-table sort of collaborations. So with that being said, thank you all for being here. These meetings will get a little more populated as the winter months go on for, again, obvious reasons. We do have press in the room. It's not City of New Brunswick press. So be mindful in your comments. Anything that you don't want to be public news, do not say. And if there needs to be closed meeting sort of deal, conversation, then let it be known, and then we can make sure that happens at a later date. All right? So as we always start, we start off with the county update.
Okay. For you that do not know me, I'm John Ferguson. I'm the Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator for Middlesex County. And my big job actually is I get to pull the code blues. Okay. Last year we pulled 82 code blues. In Brunswick they had one more, we had 83. Because the tempers had technically changed a little bit, and they weren't able to close theirs. So, all right. So I guess the big news now is that just some time count did come out. Okay. We've reached out to all our municipalities. Okay. Originally, we usually had 2 municipalities that were required to open up learning centers under the state statute, quote unquote. On the shelter, you have Kennewan shelter homeless with the temperature at 32 degrees or lower, or wind chill factor of 0, okay, for 2 hours or more. Okay, that's the officials. I don't see that we're ever going to have a wind chill factor of 0 and it not be 32 degrees, but you can't say that it won't, but that's the way the standard is written. Presently, with just the time count that I was, had just received, we've actually added 2 more municipalities. Okay, they've actually identified that they have 10 or more in shelter homeless. The ones that have to be added are Edison and Woodbridge. Okay, both of those are actually working on their overall plans. Edison's probably working a little harder because they call me constantly. Woodbridge hasn't called did have a call though from one of our other municipalities, and they were saying, well, we weren't really listed, okay? And he was asking about the just-in-time count, and the just-in-time count is wherever that was January 25th, I believe, and it's whatever information they can gather. But they actually do have a count of their homeless because they depend on their PD. So their police department actually does have a running count because they know exactly how many homeless there are. And they actually brought it up and says probably every PD in our 25 municipalities probably has a better count of who is actually homeless. Okay. So, and they're one of the municipalities that actually do request funds for assistance from the county. All right. They actually have used it two ways. They've actually did some modifications to the building that they use to actually open up their warning centers. Plus, they're actually, some of the money is to actually, it's like one person they'll actually use, they have a contract with one of the motels. They have a lower price, so they kind of do that. So that's what they're all happy about. So one of the things I'm going to bring up at our next county coordinator, our municipal coordinators meeting is that it really, you know, even though we have, I think 13 councilors listed that actually made the count, or 14 that made it, that were actually in the count. But this actually reach out to your PBs and really say, you know, are they really homeless and you guys really know about it? You really need to plan, even though the state statute says 10 or more unsheltered homeless, our county still wants to push the fact that if you have one unsheltered homeless with this kind of weather, they really need to do something. And that's been the push since I've been playing with Code Blue for that. And that's all I have presently.
It's enough. But it is an interesting concept to include PD on the point in time count. We're using volunteers to do it, and most municipalities don't even do it. So if most municipalities are not doing a point in time count, then how could they even be in the conversation for Code Blue requirements? But if the PD is doing it, or there's some sort of community policing sort of strategy included, not replacing the entire point in time volunteers piece, but an added help, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Coming Home has always reached out to the police chiefs every year with the point in time and encouraging them to help either identify places they know where homeless people might congregate. They give them surveys. They offer them training on how to do the surveys.
But is there like a mandate though? Is there like
It's not a mandate for them. Coming Home always asks them to request for them to help participate. And the point in time count too, remember, it's a snapshot of one particular day. So, and 10's the magic number. If you have more than 10, you're mandated to have to plan for that. But just because you have 3 or 4 or 5, doesn't mean you might not have more on another day. So I think what you said absolutely is you want to encourage people to plan. Every municipality should have a plan for what to do, knowing that it's likely to occur.
So I think that I know that, one, we need to figure out moving forward, because each municipality sometimes has a plan, or some of the towns that do Code Blue have a plan, and normally that plan is to send them to us.
To your house.
So just because they have a plan, how does the plan impact other municipalities? Or our plan is to put them up in a hotel for 2 days, and after that, we don't know what to do.
Right.
So the strategy is there's some across the board minimums that municipalities need to provide on a Code Blue alert, or is it, hey, our plan is to work with, this hotel until the funds runs out, and then in December the funds are done because we had 8, 9 Code Blues in November,
Right.
and then for the rest of the season, go to Brunswick, go to Brookhampton, or go to Woodbridge.
Can I ask a question, Keith?
Yeah.
When you're interviewing people, do you ask them where they live or where they are?
I don't do that, you know, the count? I don't.
Yeah, so I'm the PIC coordinator for Middlesex County. So we fill out a survey, right? We ask them questions. First, we have to give consent. Are you willing to participate? But we don't actually put their name on the survey, so it's anonymous. In order to eliminate duplication, we compare the information to make sure it's not the same person. So it would be like first few initials of their first name, their last name. But the PID survey is improved over time. Essentially, we're asking them, where were you on the last Tuesday of January? So that's the night that we're asking about. And then the survey itself is happening the last Wednesday of January. And so we're asking them, how did you become homeless? Where did you sleep last night? Do you utilize government assistance like SNAP? I mean, it's intensive. I didn't even think to bring a survey with me. I was gonna make like a gentle announcement that is coming up. But sorry, what was your question exactly?
My question was, say I'm from United Methodist Church in New
Yeah.
Brunswick, and we do dinners every night.
Right.
But we don't ask people, are you from New Brunswick? We just give them a feel. And I was just concerned because, we're talking anywhere between 90 and 150 meals going out at night. Are people from other areas excluded because they got dropped in New Brunswick by other municipalities? So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't concentrating on just people in New Brunswick, that includes people from
So
other areas.
the survey is done nationwide. It varies a little bit by state based on who's administering the survey, but every state has some sort of point in time count. And that's so that we have an understanding of how many people were homeless just on one night. And obviously it's going to change. But yeah, so we did attempt to do surveys at United Methodist last year. There was some confusion about what PIT was. But we don't discriminate. So this is not like a government thing. It has nothing to do with ICE. It's literally just so we can understand how many people are homeless that we were able to see and interview and were willing to participate. But it also helps us to understand, are they aware of the resources that are out there? Are they taking advantage of these resources? And there's nothing to say that when they do this PIT survey that we're not going to say, hey, have you heard about one of Coming Home's access sites? Here's a flyer. Are you interested in, coming in, talking to a real life person? If you're not interested in talking to someone in person, or you're interested in calling 211, 211 can connect you to the Board of Social Services so that you can get assistance, whatever it is that you may be eligible for. But there's no discriminatory practice. So we are going to ask you what city were you coming from, but it's all going to be processed through Monarch, the consultant for the state of New Jersey. So Middlesex County, all of the PIT surveys basically go through me. We're going to be hosting trainings. And then we work with Monarch to do the deduplication process, and then they're the ones that actually will display the results on their website and will share a pretty report explaining it with pictograms.
There, if it wasn't clear, they do have the question, not only where did you spend the night, before the survey, they also ask where was your last permanent residence. So it is capturing that, and we use that to illustrate to all the municipalities that, homelessness can occur everywhere. But in our two urban centers, you do see obviously high numbers of homeless, and a good majority of them did originate in each of those cities. People kind of tend to stay where they are, but there is some crossover, and there is a percentage that comes from out of the state or out of the county. It's a small percentage, but not not unnoticed.
Thank you.
You update.
My update, well, we've noticed, Sue's here too, we've noticed an increase, and people coming further to get fed. And we're not sure where they're coming from. When I was at the meeting with Ed, he told us about, New Brunswick being designated a drop-off center.
Yeah.
And people from other municipalities, police department are dropping off people in New Brunswick. We did 154 meals out this past Monday, but that did include some because of people asking, we have it, we can only do it. Right now, we're requesting coats, hats, they get to that back.
And blankets.
Warm clothing. We've had one for-profit organization, Cornerstone Products, reach out and ask us what we needed, and we gave them a list. Emmanuel Lutherans, Pastor Scott dropped off coats the other day, but that's the biggest thing people are asking for: coats, thermal, underwear, shoes. We keep our shoes around, so we have several churches who are helping us in the collection.
Cool.
But we're going to do a special Thanksgiving dinner with the church, putting together a special Thanksgiving dinner, and we have several individuals who over the last few years have asked for a Thanksgiving box, and we're putting that together and we'll deliver that on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Put everything in there that you normally have for Thanksgiving. But like I said, the numbers are increasing, and we're continually requesting from other organizations donations of food for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those are the days that Elijah's promise does not give us straight. But we're concerned too about, I know Emmanuel has opened up a warming center, but that's another concern when the temperatures get that low. We tend to get more requests for someplace to sleep at. Do you have anything to add, Sue?
Also a request for volunteers.
Oh, that's increasing.
I hope it's,
Yes, and thank God for that. We're getting calls now from people, I guess, who've heard about it, and they want to know, can we volunteer and come down? So sometimes we have as many as 12 volunteers to help out. And we're doing lunch right now on Sunday instead of 6 to 7. We're doing lunch 1:30 to 2:30.
Yeah. So we are working on some relief in a number of areas for United Methodist. The more we hash that out, the better we can explain it and we can share it. So once that happens, we will get back to you with some great news.
Pastor Neil,
Say it again?
you met Pastor Neil?
I've met him, yes. But we've been working on some things. We'll continue to work on a number of things to provide some support in a number of areas.
And we thank you for that.
No, thank you. 150 meals every day is insane. So thank you. What you got?
So, in case I haven't met you, my name's Gemma Cole-Jockley. I'm the Director of System Programs at Coming Home. So, Coming Home is the hub of the wheel. We are basically working with Middlesex County to organize the homeless system. So, like I was saying before, if someone is homeless or at risk of homelessness, they call 211. If they don't want to call 211, they can speak with a human at one of our access sites. So I have flyers in case anyone wants a flyer. But we are basically referring people to the right place. So if someone is in need of housing, we advise them of the resources that are available in the county. We also host a support group. So I also have flyers for that. So we have a peer support group that meets twice a month on Thursdays from 4 to 5. And so our consumer participation committee, which is made of people who homeless. They are the peers, and so far we've been very successful with our support group. We are encouraging people just to come in off the streets at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. And we let them know, come in, sit down, have a snack, talk to peers about what you're going through, how you feel. And then, of course, if they're interested in getting help, we let them know how to do that. But yeah, so Coming Home is a nonprofit that was created by the county. So we do a lot of systems things. So one would be the point in time count, right? So we're counting people every year. We maintain the shelter list. So if you need to get on a wait list for shelter, because unfortunately there is a wait list, then you would go through the process of calling 211 or going to an access site. We would screen you and then put you on the shelter list. If the person has substance abuse issues, we can actually ask them if they're interested in case management. If they have mental health, we can also refer for mental health. But yeah, so we have a lot going on. We have a prevention initiative where we're trying to actively prevent homelessness by building relationships with community partners. Yeah, so that's the summary. In terms of news, we're just really busy with the Medicaid Housing Supports Program. Essentially, Indian Family Care released or launched a new program as of July of this year, in which case people who have Medicaid can actually have the ability to potentially get housed through a provider. So one of the providers is Coming Home, and they just need to be a Medicaid member. It's a one-time deal, but essentially Medicaid pays for the housing case management, and we can get them a security deposit to move in. They can get furniture for their new apartment, so it's really a great program that we've been taking advantage of.
Do you have a shelter in Brunswick?
We do, but I can't really disclose.
No, that's okay, I just wanted to know there is one.
So there's a men's shelter, and then there's a family shelter. So the family shelter is for obviously families, but then there's a separate section just for women. So it's just two shelters.
So when we get somebody who comes and is homeless, we ask them to call 211?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
If they have a phone.
you could also give them a flyer. If anyone needs more, can send you a digital copy. But yeah, that will be the process. Everyone has to follow the same process, and then Coming Home is going to make sure that everyone gets prioritized.
Forgive me, we can't disclose the shelters?
Where they look.
I can't say where they are because we don't want people showing up at shelters.
It's, the DV shelter is not disclosed. The Women Aware DV shelter is not disclosed, but I think it's public knowledge where the, Catholic Charities Men's Shelter is in New Brunswick, and the Family Shelter in Edison, on those, on those streets, but they don't take walk-ins.
Yeah, because we've had people, including women, come down and get a meal and tell us they're staying in the shelter. And I know they have told us that they can't tell us where it is, and we say, fine.
That would be the Women
Just drop
Women
it.
Aware DV shelter,
Yeah,
yeah,
alright.
safe house, yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're up.
Melissa Bellamy from the county. We're continuing our overall systems work with homelessness. There's a lot of potential challenges and threats on the federal level to funding, with proposals to change how funding, certain funding from HUD under what's called the Continuum of Care program is utilized. It is utilized across the country, about 80% for permanent housing, usually permanent supportive housing. So you have to getting people out of shelters and out of unsheltered homelessness into housing and providing them with supports and then connecting them with different services under models that has been known kind of as housing first. And that's been the standard for the past almost 2 decades. If somebody has issues in homelessness, the best thing you can do is get them into housing and then help them address all the other concerns and things that they have using other resources that are in the community. The administration, there's been some leaks that came out that they are proposing for the next round of continuum of care funding to change that and to only allow 30% of the overall funding be used for permanent housing, and that it really focus on transitional housing, with the thought being transitional housing, you're still technically homeless. It's basically like an extended emergency shelter where you go and stay in a program, and it's usually place-based. And while you're here, we're gonna teach you how to budget, we're gonna teach you this and that, and whatever it is, we want you to get clean if you have substance abuse issues or other parts on that. And by the time you finish this program in 12 to 24 months, you shouldn't need help anymore, is kind of the thought of that. And for people who work with homeless populations, you kind of see how silly that is. Somebody who is disabled and receiving Social Security, SSI, or SSDI under $1,000, you're never going to be self-sufficient to afford without the housing supports. So there was concern on that because this was supposed to be the year we had like an automatic renewal of these grants that renew in 2026. So we have funds that are received in directly in county agencies, with housing authorities, with other homeless programs who house people. It totals about a little over 100 individual households who are assisted with these funds. And what we do is not just those same households every year, different people cycle through. We get them other assistance, so it's kind of this moving plot, but these programs need to know that they're gonna get funding again or they have to start planning, and because they haven't, they've changed that automatic renewal, we have projects that are scheduled to be renewed April 1st, and we haven't got indication from HUD. They still say they're gonna do this whole new competition, and we may have all these rules changed. And with the government shutdown right now, it even adds to it because nothing is happening. Thankfully, they're getting some pushback, not just from people on the Democratic side, but on the Republican side, because there's been some lobbying saying, hey, if they change how this homeless system funding works, you're gonna end up with a lot of people in the streets. And I think the numbers that they're projecting nationwide is 170,000. I don't remember what it is in New Jersey, but basically for most people, for every 3 households you're serving in a program, you're only gonna be able to serve 1. So it's really drastic. I'm glad that some of the advocacy has been helped in getting that pushback and seeing that. So we'll remain cautiously hopeful that they renew those other grants and we can fight that change in policy. But it was the mentality that was put out in an executive order at the end of July, which basically kind of paints homeless people as, kind of infiltrating the cities, making cities dangerous, that they're drug addicts, sexual deviants, people should just be kind of locked up. And just even on an economic basis, we did a sign-on letter showing that it is far cheaper to provide housing, a day of housing with supports for somebody at the highest level of need, ends up being, and are not contributing, to their own housing needs because they have no income at that moment, is about $79 a day versus a minimum of over $200 a day to be in prison and almost $700 a day to be in a psych hospital. So it doesn't make sense on any level. So that's kind of, we've been a lot of focus on advocacy, educating people, giving people talking points, encouraging people to reach out and share their concerns. So we've been thankful for those efforts and that they've been having some effect. We're also planning for our Homeless Persons Memorial Day, an annual event each year. This year it is going to be held in the city of New Brunswick, and we thank our main partner, United Methodist Church, who is going to be hosting with that. It's a Sunday night, is the 21st, and we remember the names of people who were homeless and who have passed. And we include the names of people who might have died after they received some housing assistance but were previously homeless, because we know and consider the fact that their time of being homeless might have led to their early death. Unfortunately, we know we'll have some names that we'll have to add this year to the list, as we do every year. But it gives us a time to kind of get away from data and to remember that these are real people with families and people who loved and care about them. So I know it's a tough time of the year, but hopefully on Sunday the 21st, I believe the time is going to be at 5 o'clock, but we'll have more information and details and promoting that out to attend. And then of course we're going to start with the point in time count, and what we usually have is a Project Homeless Connect, which is a tie-in to that, to have places. Usually is that day where people can go and surveys will be administered, but you can also be a distribution point for clothing and coats and sometimes some services, connections with other social service agencies. So we're looking at how to do this. Pre-COVID, we would have it kind of really big, and it would be a big one-day thing. It kind of has been a little tougher to get that started again. So we're going to look if we, how we want to do that and structure that for this coming year. So we'll be looking for input from our different partners around the table. One of the thoughts is instead of focusing on one day, maybe just have some multiple days, because you can, even though the survey is really tied into that Wednesday, you can actually still continue taking surveys for like the few days after that, as long as you're referencing that same day of where do they spend that Tuesday night. So we're looking at maybe having, instead of trying to get everybody to come to one place on one day, maybe using some existing sites, having stuff brought there for those few days and encouraging people. And even if they've completed the survey, they can still obviously use and access the resources that are made available. So we'll look for more information to get to you, get some more feedback on you, that what would be good models and what type of services people would want to see and would want to need and have and can use that day.
Quick question for point in time count folks. Are we thinking about any modifications to the actual survey or to the actual, could be a possible swell in activity with everything that's happening, especially after Saturday of this week? So is there any consideration to there may be an influx at the Project Connect sites, or just in terms of modification to the survey itself?
Well, what kind of modification were you looking at?
I'm not looking for anything, I was asking if it's been, so case in point, the pantry system. Pantry system is being impacted like never before. United Methodist is seeing 150 meals leave their door a day. Is there any sort of thought around, what's happening with ICE and also what's happening with the actual cuts across everything? How does that impact the point in time, sort of either the outreach survey itself or the Project Connect sites? Just what that means in detail? I don't have the answer. Just asking.
Yeah, I think with that, some of the thoughts that are always every year is reflecting on how to reach people. And especially this year, there'll be a certain set of the population, either undocumented or even if they have legal status, there's still a lot of fear of being rounded up and taken. So we know there's people who are less likely maybe to seek services and come out. So I think we have to look at how we do our outreach, and that's where the help is going to be from from people and to be able to use people who are trusted in their individual communities to kind of be that point and to do that, because we wanna have accurate reflection, so we don't wanna say, oh, look, our homeless numbers came down, and it's not because they're actually down, it's because people are staying hidden. So I think that really kind of behooves us to look of how we can do that. And I think one of the big things is figuring out who the trusted partners are and who can get in and where you can, where you can get the results and get people what they, what they need. Because the part is, yeah, the survey, we want the data. The other part is we want them to be hopefully connected to other services.
Well, we do connect with the places where people would go to ask for help. So obviously one of them would be United Methodist, another was Manual Lutheran. So yeah, we're definitely tackling that, and we're going to be training anyone at these organizations. This is how you do a survey. It's something that we do every year, but in terms of editing the survey, we do already ask about, what caused your homelessness? Like, did you have a reduction in employment, like less hours? Did you get evicted from your home? So one thing that I can look into is, are you in this situation because of what's going on in terms of your assistance being cut? I don't believe there's something specifically saying that you lost your benefits. There's definitely like you lost your job.
I think Melissa hit it on the head with this, just trying to figure out ways to modify in a way that even allows a person to even take the survey. So right now with ICE activity ramping up, we may not even get the chance to ask Keith Jones, hey, is your benefits been cut? Because Keith Jones is not filling out that survey, because I'm not talking to you, because I don't know if ICE is right there or you're with ICE.
Well, we did see that in January. We've
Right.
already seen the beginning of that.
Right, and it's not getting better.
Right.
So what are we doing in terms of making sure that we can adjust our operations so we can get the most accurate data as possible? If we see numbers are the same or dwindling, we know that's not the truth. So how do we make sure that we're getting decent information? That's the question.
Well, that ties into having more Project Homeless Connect events, because if you're in a safe space, right, like an event that's just about you and getting you help, you're more likely to show up because you want the help. You're more likely to talk to these people because they're offering help. So, Melissa and I have talked about this before, about increasing the amount of events. But we do work with Feeding in Brunswick, so we do ask the pantries to participate. It's like we can't just go door to door to people's homes. Obviously, if you're homeless, you're not in a home for us to go to. But it's going to be the people that are congregating out in the streets that we're not going to get. It's where are they going? Are they going to a soup kitchen? And we already have tackled soup kitchens, like Elijah's Promise, United Methodist. We do the shelters, which from last year. So we can ramp up, see if there's anything we haven't done previously.
We should. We'll put some folks together to start to figure out how we connect.
Can I ask Melissa a question?
Sure.
I don't know if everybody's seen, but it looks like Amazon's gonna lay off 144,000 people. I live out in Monroe, and there's a lot of Amazon warehouses out there. There's them in Piscataway. This is another population that we don't have today, but they're going to go into the bucket. They lose their benefits, they can't pay their mortgage, and they're gonna be out on the street. And I don't know that you anticipate those kind of situations where all of a sudden you've got a whole group that you didn't have last month because of layoffs.
usually see, what we know happens in homelessness is losing the job usually doesn't have somebody on the shelter like the next month. It's a process where they use a little bit of funds that they have, they scrimp, they save, they borrow, they do whatever. They stave off an eviction, a couple months, they get evicted, they start using friends and family first, so they'll kind of do that. If they can't get back up on their feet, they don't get that job back in that time period. Friends and family get a little tired of having extra people in their house, and they're stretched too. So it ends up being a delayed part. We'll see them, 6 months down the line, maybe a year, whatever, from the incident. So we're already, we're kind of knowing, going out, whatever happens, you see that effect down the line. You're trying to stem it. We're trying to get people, to educate people who are just losing their jobs that, hey, you may now be eligible for SNAP benefits. Not with the government shutdown, but here's resources you can use. Here's resources for utility assistance programs. Here's some different things that might be able to help you. But we just know that the pantries in the food programs can't replace SNAP, because for every one meal a pantry does, SNAP's covers 8. So it's you're not going to be able to replace that with the systems. But yeah, we're looking at, and you're already seeing indicators. You're seeing indicators. More people are getting cars repossessed. Well, all these economic indicators that it's going to get bad. And that systems are going to get worse, and we need more resources right at the time where they're cutting other resources, and it's going to be, decisions of what's available on the level, and then you're trying to allocate scarce resources to a lot of different groups with need, and then it ends up becoming people who are like, well, why don't you help me before I get that eviction notice? It's like, well, we don't have enough resources to help you not get there when we have these people who are right here with that warrant of removal. So it's really tough. Yeah, we're aware of it, and that's why my hair's getting grayer and we're going nuts. Because it's like you're screaming to the wall, and the average person is saying, well, nothing in my life's really changed.
So in short, we'll call Monroe. We'll call Monroe in short. Right, how we can get them to also make sure that they are on top of their
Having a
folks and having a plan, because
But
that's.
you know what, they're working on Monroe, but they probably do in surrounding areas.
That's true,
They
but it's more of Monroe should still have a plan, because at the end of the day, if they're working in Monroe, then somehow Monroe's benefiting from them working there. So if Monroe's benefiting from having Amazon there, Monroe's probably taking this hit with Amazon laying off folks, so Monroe should have a plan.
Yeah, that's the reason I have to Monroe and Middlesex.
Yeah, you go.
What you got? Wobble Witch?
Thank you. So for those of you who don't know me, Wobble Witch is not my real name. I'm Lisa Trulis. I'm the social worker at the New Brunswick Senior Center. I've been coming to these meetings since inception, just to get information, because while I don't provide those types of resources that everybody's talking about around the table, I am grateful for those that do. And what I see as a social worker who works with older adults, they're the quiet homeless population. You don't know that they've lost their home. You don't know that they don't have any food because they're not telling you, even when asked. So surveys are fantastic and wonderful, but if you're connecting with those folks and they're not revealing to you what's really going on, we don't know. And then we come to it when a crisis hits. So we don't know what's going on until something has actually happened. So, I am so grateful for being at the table and connecting with all of you, because I can share resources from a population You know, you talk about folks being afraid of ICE. Our older adults aren't really concerned about ICE. They're concerned about their independence. They're concerned about people knowing what they're going through. They don't want them to know. So, thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you.
Reverend Susan Kramer Mills. I run Town Clock Community Development Corporation, which is right down the street. We provide housing, permanent supportive housing for survivors of domestic violence. It's not the shelter, it is permanent, supportive, affordable housing. We have 11 apartments that we provide housing. What have I seen? Well, the point in time numbers show that 38% of 2025's numbers were survivors of domestic violence. And 7 of those were children who had no housing, so they were completely unhoused. So that's, you know, we've targeted different populations in the permanent supportive housing world. We still have to target more with the survivors of domestic violence.
Cool. Do you have a big event over there?
Yeah, we did. That's why I'm still falling asleep.
Wanna talk about it?
Say that?
You wanna mention it?
Oh, we had our big gala, Being Brave, an evening honoring survivors of domestic violence. And we were at the Pines and 200 people were there and it was very good. So,
I
all y'all who missed it, you can come next year.
I don't want it.
You,
I don't want it.
I want to talk about that event. For those who don't know, I'm Charlie Gayton, Assistant City Attorney for New Brunswick.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Nice to finally meet you, Reverend. That was a great event.
Thank you.
And one of the things that they did, which was so, 2 things that they did. They talked about one of the survivors, I think she, in 2021, young lady who was killed by her partner.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
that woman, I think she was a little older, she was mid-30s. And we do a memorial moment for each one of our Being Brave events now, to remind people that not everybody survives.
Right, and then the second event, which was even more moving, was they had Costa.
Yeah, Keith DeCosta.
Keith DeCosta stood up and he had all of the men in the room stand with him to pledge to not turn a blind eye, not turn away when, you know, fathers, nephews, uncles, you know, don't turn away when you see something like that happen. And my husband was a part of that, and it was just very poignant because as I represent a lot of survivors of domestic violence in my practice, and because of the domestic violence, we do see a lot of children and families becoming homeless. And if we can come together as a community to help these people, then we ought to not turn away and stand up and try to help them. So it was a great event.
Thank you very much. And thanks for coming.
Okay, I'm Joe Light with Emmanuel Lutheran Church. I'm responsible for our community outreach committee, and I'm with Jim, who is a council president. So we're just kind of around the corner here. So just want to quickly update on a couple of things we've done the last month. I'll go through it really fast. The last arm shower program was held in October, and we also did a meal service during that program. We got a lot of donations of hygiene kits and hygiene products this year from various organizations, too many to mention, but it's been very, very helpful. Also, the city's second healthcare kiosk was installed at the beginning of the month outside of our outreach building, which is where Code Blue takes place, and I've noticed that it's been very, very active. So I think it's a great addition to this part of the city. We did buy Elijah's Promise a new refrigerator so they could store 1,500 more meals for service per week. And we also repaired their freezer. And that money we had made as a grant from our endowment. So we started our winter clothing drive, and as Pam said, we've donated items. We actually donated 100 items of coats, sweaters, pants, and so on to support the dinner ministry and people needing clothes there. do want to mention that we're working with Kathy Newman at the Blaustein School on doing a pantry study, and we have 4 interns that we actually had asked for from Rutgers that have been dedicated to support the project she's running. And I know the Hope meetings are going well at the church, but they moved to 4 p.m. Second and fourth Thursday of the month. The Interfaith Men's Shelter is coming up soon. It's starting the middle of December. Emmanuel's going to do 1 week in February. And we have now just kicked off the holiday gift program for the families, women at the Center for Great Expectations. This will be our 3rd year of doing that. Last 2 years, we've raised a total of $13,000 for them, which has provided gifts for almost 25 families across the 2 years. So we're hoping to maybe match that. If anybody's interested to support that, please let us know. This past weekend, we did 2 meal services at Emmanuel, one on Friday night, one on Sunday morning, with the support of Meals from Elijah's Promise for the Mexican community. We are just completing a food drive for Dia de los Muertos for families, and we are serving 110 meals planned for this coming Saturday night for the Mexican community for the Dia de los Muertos. Again, all with the support of Elijah's Promise for that. And we've just had some discussions with one of the departments at Rutgers, and they've committed to support running an oatmeal drive, instant oatmeal drive, so that we can actually serve hot instant oatmeal in the city. And we're working on trying to finalize those particular details. So I think that is all the key things that we've done.
Very nice.
That's it?
Let me know if you need donations. I don't know, Walmart has some down for $1 cup.
Right, yeah. I'm sure we will. We're not sure the exact number. We were thinking between 2,000 and 3,000 cups we'll need. So it's quite a lot.
That's all right. All right, we'll start again.
So everyone, Ed DeVoe, Deputy Director of Human Services in the Department of Human and Community Services. The department operates all of our emergency services, which are the Dignity Center, which is the shower facility located at Memorial Stadium, as well as our Code Blue and Code Red warming and cooling center programs, respectively. All of the programs are open to whoever comes. So we do get day laborers who will use the shower facilities. We have had families in both Code Red this summer, families coming through, as well as for Code Blue, so we're open to men, women, and children. So if they are in need of that immediate relief from, well, we're talking about the cold weather now, but if they're in need of immediate relief, immediate warming, men, women, and children are welcome at Code Blue, which operates from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. the following morning. When the facility closes, the facility is cleaned after each use. As Joe mentioned, the warming center is no longer at 81 Remsen Avenue. It is now at 6 Kirkpatrick Street. It is an expanded capacity from the previous years at 81. We've essentially doubled the number of people that we can service during Code Blue now. As Keith has passed out, we have our winter coat drive. So one of the pickup points, actually both pickup points for the city are the Dignity Center, where coats, towels, other hygiene items can be donated for the shower facility, and our office, which is located at 25 Kirkpatrick Street. We're on the 2nd floor above the Vital Statistics Office. So we're on the parking lot side of 25 Kirkpatrick Street. We're here in the 2nd floor.
Who gives those?
Right, so when they're dropped off at the Dignity Center, people will take a shower and then take a coat.
What about at 25 Kirkpatrick?
And so those we have actually, I think we brought some to you last season. We did, so any of the agencies that are in need of additional coats, our office will distribute to your agency if you are in need.
If it's bulk, then we can coordinate pickup or some sort of drop off. So, I don't have much. It is the beginning of the season when folks start to show up. So we are in a position to now, well, not now, but to be on offense. And with that being said, we are sticking to November, I think, 19th. I think the date is our State of the City Homelessness address sort of deal. That would take place in this room. As we put that together, it would be basically somewhat of a readout of everything we heard today, as well as the procedures and process for all of the city's emergency programming, what we're looking to do, the partners, how you can be involved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we wanted to be transparent. This is not something that we are hiding. We want people to know up front how these things work, what we're up against, how we plan to move forward throughout this particular season, and how you can be involved. And also, on some level, it's an education opportunity. There are folks that have no clue what any of this means or how the process works. They know they just see homeless people outside and they see buildings going up. And we're seeing both of those tracks happen at the same time without any sort of real explanation or thought can create a bunch of confusion that is unnecessary. So November 19th will be that conversation. Many of you will be contacted prior to for some sort of information or to play a role somehow, some way. But that is the biggest thing on the agenda. The rotating shelter we are trying to coordinate with. I know we had a conversation at our faith-based meeting the other night, so we're trying to get better coordination with that organization so we can know what to prepare for, how to collaborate and support in the case we need to. And at the same time, we also be able to share what that is. We always talk about, in past council meetings, or any meetings, folks bring up the rotating shelter as some sort of model for how Code Blue should be ran, and they are two totally different things. So, one, being able to know exactly how, when it starts, how it starts, how many, I think we talked, one of the services, at the meeting, there's a shortage of, volunteers, there's a shortage of houses of worship participating. So at the end of the day, those then become problems for all of the other initiatives that are happening in the city. So how do we make sure that, the tide is lifting all boats in the city of New Brunswick as it relates to this population? On December 2nd, come on, is that Given Tuesday, we are highlighting Make It Count. The Make It Count program is the red meter program that you see across the city. And the goal will be to, similar fashion as Salvation Army does their donation day, Make It Count will be the city's Giving Tuesday recipient in a sense. The Make It Count program over the years has housed people, paid for train tickets, and we put people in hotels. We've done down payments. So that money has quietly helped out a number of families over the years, individuals that have been in need. So it's basically somewhat of a cure or a very, very tight Band-Aid on an issue of panhandling downtown New Brunswick or across the city. So for folks that don't want to give money to individual, unsure that that money would be put to good use, the red meters are your opportunity to still give to the population without any fear of your money being used in the wrong way. From what we're hearing now, they only take change because the technology of the actual meters don't accept the credit cards anymore. But checks always work. So for the camera, Carlos, if New Brunswick today wants to donate a check to make it count to the community that they love, we will be so willing and so gracious to take that check and put it to good use. So these are a number of things that the city is trying to improve on. We know that come Saturday, things change for all of us, no matter what our income level is, or no matter the people that we serve. So in all of our programming, we need to make sure that we are taking that into account, and it won't just be business as usual come Monday. So we want to make sure that we are proactive. And how do we be proactive is, one, recognizing that it won't be business as usual, and then how can we be better in every issue, in every situation. So with that, I'll stop because you'll be hearing from me for the next 2 weeks as we prepare for November 19th. Tomorrow we have the Feeding New Brunswick Network meeting for so that is at, most people have this, right? 10:30 via Zoom, right? And then the last, help me out, all right, the last Thursday of the next meeting for the Faith-Based Council is the 27th, November 27th. So if you are a member of a house of worship, or you have a faith member, or you just want to come, I know we got some deaconess and some deacons in the space, evangelists. So we host a faith-based meeting every month that is starting to be populated with the folks that are shepherding flocks in Brunswick and beyond. So one, we want to be able to support them in their efforts to do so. 150 meals a day, all of the insane work Emmanuel Luther is doing. Father Ryan and his thesis, we got to make sure that we take care of that for you.
Yeah, I want to talk to 3 people after this.
Yeah. So the work is being done, and we want to make sure that part of this conversation is not only about us talking about the issues and talking about the challenges that we face, but also recognizing that there's folks around the table that do this work day in and day out, with no medals around their neck and no big Bentleys in the driveway because they're receiving a bunch of money to do this. Is most of the time volunteers or people that are making way under the salary they should be making. So we appreciate you, and we want to make sure that that work and that is also highlighted as well. So with that being said, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We don't see Halloween. Sorry, while we're waiting. Wait. I'm sorry.
You haven't even seen her purse. Purse is also Halloween.
The purse is Halloween too?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And it's Disney. Oh, you're serious. I should have known the highlights, but I should have known by that. Carlos, thank you.
Go big or go home.
And we are having our meeting the day before Thanksgiving here, is that right?
Yeah, we're locked in. Yeah, we ain't gotta buy no gas. I'm not sure how many people can actually cook. So we'll see what happens. But turkeys, we should have a number of turkeys, so we'll have some conversations around that as well. I'm interested in your turkey, your Thanksgiving event.
2 years ago, last year, they are did a meal for free, so we didn't do one that day. The year before, we had 9 turkeys, because I cooked one table, so we asked the congregation to make a meal, and we handed out. So it's a home cooked meal from UMC to its guests.
Okay.
Yeah, so we will be doing Thanksgiving.
Perfect, thank you. If you have a questionnaire, you can give the questionnaire to Taisha in the back, and we will get back to you ASAP. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.
And for your work.
Jill, I'm in a bag in the car.
Okay, very good.
One